Hi everyone, Kate from Crocoblock is here and welcome to this new video. In today's tutorial, I'd like to show you how to create a crowdfunding platform from scratch using Elementor Page Builder and Crocoblock plugins. Now, before we start off, I'd like to show you a very simple and extremely comprehensive live site demo made by our CTO, Andrew Shevchenko. And I will leave the link to this demo right in the description below this video so you can check it out yourself. Okay, so here we are on the front page of the crowdfunding platform. The first thing we see here is a listing grid with all available foundations that help people. The titles of grid items are clickable and take you to a single page of each charity project with detailed project information, statistics, and reports about collected funds. The donation form is placed inside a pop-up, which is triggered by the click on this Donate Now button widget, and is pretty simple. Here, one can specify the amount of money he's willing to donate, and decide whether to show his name on donations list or not. As for the payment gateways, Andrew decided to use PayPal service for this particular case. That is why, after successful form submission, it redirects us to the PayPal page to complete the payment procedure. Another cool thing is that the information about the donation also appears as a new item in the donations CCT database, and based on that record gets calculated for further statistics and shown here on the page. So these were a couple of major functionalities of the crowdfunding website, and right now we can go ahead and try recreating them from scratch using the free version of Elementor Page Builder and Crocoblock plugins. So what exact plugins are we going to use? First of all, Jet Engine, for creating a CPT for charity projects and CCT for donations, Jet Theme Core for creating header and footer and of course a single page template, Jet Form Builder for structuring a donation form and setting up payment gateways, Jet Pop-up for adding the form to the page and showing it in such a convenient way, and Jet Tabs for displaying donations lists on the single page template. So to begin with, let's think of a structure of the crowdfunding platform that we're going to be working on today. First, we need to create a custom post type that will contain the information about all charity projects available on the platform. Second, we need to store the information about donations somewhere, right? And since there will be a lot of such info records, CPT would not be a good solution in this case. That is why creating a custom content type for donations would be our second step. Third, we need to create a donation form so that first of all people could donate money to support charity projects, and second, record this info as a new item in the donations CCT after successful form submission. These are 3 starting steps of the website that are going to be done 100% on the back end. After they're completed, we will proceed with a couple of other things like creating custom theme templates for header and footer, creating a listing item for projects CPT to display it in a listing grid on the front page, and building a single page template for the project's CPT to show detailed information about each charity project on the front end. After finishing with these basic things, we can proceed to more complex, advanced, but very interesting part. We will create and set up an SQL query and then use it for adding statistics to our single page template and listing item. This will be done with the help of the Query Builder feature. Then we will build and customize donations table, And last but not the least, we will adjust all pages of the site to make sure that it is mobile responsive. Okay guys, shall we get started? Let's follow to Jet Engine, Post Types, and add a new one. So post type name will be Projects, and post type slug gets entered automatically when we click on an empty space of the page. Okay, so we don't really need to change the default labels to custom ones, but just be aware that you have such an opportunity. As for the advanced settings, here we can customize the permalink structure slug to Projects and replace the editor feature with the thumbnail featured image. Now we can go ahead and add 3 additional meta fields. First one will go for the total amount of money we're planning to collect. So label total, name or ID total, object type field, field type text. Second one will go for the short description of the project. So label short description, name or ID short description, object type field, field type text area. And the third one will go for the full description. Label description, name or ID description, object type field, field type WYSIWYG. Okay, now we can save the changes and proceed to our newly created CPT and add a couple of projects to our site. So once the post type is created, it appears as a new item here in the WordPress sidebar. From here, we can either open the section with all the projects available or add a new project right away. I will go for the second option since I don't have any projects created yet. So here's the page where we can add all necessary information about the project. Its title and featured image, as well as fill out these 3 meta fields we created specifically for this post type. So, title of our project will be Mykolaiv Territorial Defense Support. Let's add a featured image. Good. Now, the total amount of money we're planning on raising is $1,000. Short description will be funds go for the territorial defense of Mykolaiv, weapons, aid kits, and humanitarian aid. And the full description will be a bit longer, so let me paste it in. Good. Okay, so the first project is ready and we can now hit the publish button. To save your time, I already did add 3 more projects to the site. The procedure was exactly the same, just enter the title, set featured image, specify desired amount of money to collect, and add short and full description to the post. Okay, with this being done, we can proceed to the second step. In order to create a CCT, first we have to enable this functionality in the Jet Engine dashboard. For that, click on Jet Engine and simply toggle Custom Content Types module on. Save the changes, and now proceed to Jet Engine, Custom Content Types section, and click on Add New button. So the name of this new content type will be Donations. Slug is entered automatically, and as you might have noticed, the database table name has also been updated automatically, which is really nice as for me. Now here we can change the menu icon, select menu position, and add content type access capability, which will be Manage Options in our case. Guys, just in case, over here you can learn more about other capability options. Now let's scroll a bit down and start adding required meta fields. We'll add 4 fields to this CCT. One for the amount a person is willing to donate, another one for the type of the project he or she chooses to support, the next one for the name of the person, and lastly, a field where one can specify whether to show their name on the front end after successful donation or not. So let's start with the first one. Label amount, name or ID amount, object type field, field type text. Then proceed with the second field. Label project, name or ID project ID, object type field, field type posts, search in post types, select projects, and proceed to the next field. Label show on project page, name or ID the same, show on project page, object type field, field type text, and another field for the name of the person. So label name, name or ID name, object type field, field type text. Okay, what else we can do here is actually customize admin columns a little bit. I think it will be more convenient to show the item ID, amount, and name of the person in the admin columns as well. Now we can add this content type and proceed to its page in the dashboard. Okay, so as you can see, here are the admin columns we just enabled. And exactly the information from these meta fields will be displayed here later once the first donation is submitted. If we click on the Add New button, we'll have a possibility to add a new item to Donations CCT, or to basically see how the individual item details page looks like. The only difference between the already existing item and this page will be the Delete Item button right underneath this blue one. So our CCT is created, which means that now we can move on to the third step. To give people an opportunity to support our projects, we need to create a donation form. And this can be done with the help of the free version of the Jet from Builder plugin, available on WordPress.org website. So let's follow to Jet from Builder and click on Add New. As you can see, 3 form fields, Hidden, Text, and Submit button have been created with the form by default. What we need to do is add these ones and add a few more fields. Let's start with the hidden field. It's good that its value is set to current post ID, as this way it will record the ID of the post a person has chosen to donate money to. The only thing that I will do here is change the form field name from post ID to project ID. Now we can duplicate this field and add a project name here too. So form field name, project name, and field value, current post title. Good. This one is actually optional, but I think it will be good to have this additional information in the form record section on the backend. Now we can proceed to the text field. Here we will change the label and form field name to amount, and amount here too. Make this field required, and in the Advanced Settings tab, add a placeholder to the field, donation amount in USD. After that, let's add a select field right underneath this text field block. This one will give a person an opportunity to choose whether to show his name on donations list or not. So field label will be show your name in the donations list, form field name, show your name, In the Fill Options From field, leave Manual Input and click on Manage Items to add new options. First one for No, and second one for Yes. And click on the Update button. Okay, so if a person chooses to show his or her name on the list, we need to add another text field block for the name, obviously. But we will need to put it inside a conditional block to create a conditional logic between select field with the question and the text field with the name. So first, let's search for a conditional block and add it right underneath this one. Now inside this block, we will add a new text field. Field label will be name, and form field name will be user name. Right now, let's click on Select Conditional Block and add conditional logic to it. So, type will be show this field if the field show your name in the donations list is equal to yes. Click on Update to save the changes and follow to the Submit button to change its label to Donate with PayPal. Great! So the form is technically ready, but we still have to customize a bit of it. Payment gateways and post-submit actions. For that, click on the Jet tab in the right side panel. As you can see, we do have the settings for customizing post-submit actions, which we will do in a minute. But we don't see any option for setting up the payment gateway, right? No worries, guys. There is nothing wrong with the form or the plugin. We just need to activate this functionality in the Jet Form Builder settings. For that, let's proceed to Jet Form Builder, Settings, and toggle Enable Gateways option on. After that, unfold the Payment Gateway API tab and enter both Client ID and Secret Key. Don't forget to save the changes and go back to the form. Now let's give the form a name, donation form for example, publish it, and refresh the page to get access to the gateway settings. Okay, there it is. So in order for the PayPal checkout gateway to work properly, first we need to add Save Form Record action to the form. Let's just change this Send Email action created by default to the Save Form Record. Good. Now we can edit the PayPal checkout gateway with no problem. The button is active. But before that, let's add another action, Insert Update Custom Content Type, to keep record of all donations made on the website. So click on the Added button and specify the content type, donations, then item status, publish, and map the fields of the form according to the meta fields in the CCT we created earlier. So project ID, project, amount, amount, show your name in donations list, show on project page, and name corresponds to the name meta field. Okay, let's update the changes and add the event on which the CCT item should be created. Click on the Added Conditions and Events button and open Events Match tab. In the Add Event field, choose Gateway Success from the list. Hit Update and go back to the PayPal checkout settings. Here, we can either use global API settings we entered earlier in this video, or set individual client ID and secret key for this particular form. I'll use global settings right now. So, the gateway action is the same, Pay Now, and we can click on Request button to sync the access token. Okay, over here we can customize some other options like currency code, which will be USD in our case, price amount field, it will be amount. And way at the bottom, we can customize payment success or failed messages. So let's click on the Update button to save the changes. And now we can proceed with creating a nice little pop-up to output our form to the front end. Go to Jet Pop-up, create new pop-up, add the title, Donate Now, and hit Edit with Elementor button. First, change the pop-up style settings. Set container width to 760 pixels and padding to 35 from top, bottom, left, and right. Then change the close button icon. Adjust the icon styles, font color blue, and background color yellow. Icon size 24 and box size 44. And as for the pop-up overlay, change the color to blue. Now we can search for the JetForm widget and place it into the pop-up. Choose the form, Donation Form, and proceed to the Style tab. Guys, we will be doing a lot of styling today, so for some of you, it will be a good opportunity to learn how these settings operate. So, label color, blue, typography cabin, weight 500, and let's change the padding a little bit here too. So for example, let's make it 6 pixels at the top, 3 pixels at the bottom, and 23 pixels on the left. Good. We don't have description and checkboxes fields in our form, so the next tab to open will be Input Fields. Let's change the color to blue, border type to solid, weight 1 pixel, border color to blue, and border radius to 25 from all sides. Also, let's adjust the padding to 12 pixels at top and bottom and 20 pixels at right and left. Now let's go ahead and open Submit tab and change the background color to yellow and text color to blue. Text size will be 18, weight bold, transform uppercase, border radius 27 pixels from all sides, margin 20 pixels at the top, and padding 15 pixels at the top and bottom and 45 pixels at right and left. Also, to remove this red stroke around the button that we don't really need, we can set border to solid and change color to transparent. Now we can save the changes and proceed to the next step of this tutorial. Since we have already created some basic structure of the crowdfunding platform, now it is the right time to start building and customizing theme templates that will be applied to the pages on the front end. Let's follow to Crocoblock, Theme Builder, and click on the Create New Page template. Specify the condition, Include for entire site works perfectly fine for us. And click on the Create button. So, this is the basic structure of any page on the website that consists of a header, a body, and a footer. Let's begin with creating a header first. Click on the plus icon and choose the first option, Create Template, because as of now we don't have any templates in the library yet. In the pop-up window, select a builder you want to create it with, Elementor or Gutenberg block editor. I'll go for the Elementor. Give the template a name, main header, and click on the Create button. Right now, we can go to the editor to start building the header from scratch. So let's add a new section. Change the content width to 1140 pixels. Set no gap for the columns, and in the style settings, add background color white and box shadow barely visible light gray. And change the blurriness to somewhere around 16. Also, go to the Advanced Settings tab and set padding to 5 pixels from top and bottom. Good! Now go ahead and drop an image widget right into that section. Click on the Choose Image and upload the logo of the platform. Good! Now let's set the image size to full and add a custom URL to the logo to make it clickable. I'm adding the link to the homepage of the website. Okay, so as you can see, the logo just got super small after adding the link. But no worries, we can change it here in the style settings. Just set the width to 100 and the problem is solved. But the logo still looks a bit awkward, right? Like right in the middle of the header, and that's not how we want it to be. So let's follow to the Advanced Settings tab and change the width here to Inline Auto. Now it looks much better. And as for the right side of the header, we want to place some motivational message there. For that, we can use the text editor widget, as it's got extended options that will allow us to add a little image to the text too. So, drag and drop the widget to the canvas and enter the message we'd like our site visitors to see. After that, click on the Add Media button, upload a nice little heart image, and insert it into the post. Click on the image and align it to the right. Okay, and right now it still looks a bit clunky. That is why, let's go to the Text tab and align the items inside the widget to the center with the help of this little code. Great! Now let's make some minor style adjustments. Change text color to bluish gray, and font family in typography settings to cabin, size 16 pixels, and weight 400. Also, don't forget to set the widths in the Advanced Settings tab to Inline Auto. And the final step in this part of the header would be changing the horizontal alignment in the column to space between. There we go. Right now, let's add another section and place a heading widget for the title of the website: Crowdfunding Platform with Crocoblock. Set alignment to center, change text color to black, and typography to cabin, size 40, and weight 700 pixels. As you can see, right now this heading kind of sticks to the top. That is why let's select the section one more time and change the padding to 30 pixels on the top and bottom. And at the bottom, let's add another heading widget, change the title to Learn More About Crocoblock, align it to the center, change HTML tag to div, proceed to the style settings and change the text color to gray, font family to cabin, size 20 pixels, and weight 400 pixels. And also, I want to add a link to this word, Crocoblock, so that a person could proceed to the website. That is why let's go to the Content tab and add a hyperlink with a bit of styling. Okay, let's update the changes and preview the result. Great! I think it looks just fine. The logo is clickable, the Crocoblock word in the Learn More About Crocoblock is working just as we wanted it to, so we are all set here. Now we can proceed with creating a footer. So let's click on the plus icon, or just on this Add Footer button and choose Create Template option. This time I will use Block Editor just to show you that it works perfectly fine too. Now add the name of the template, main footer, and click on Create button. Okay, let's follow to the block editor to build our footer right away. So here we are on the block editor's page. I just want to say that the footer here will be as simple as possible. What we will do is actually add the same motivational message, Stand with Ukraine, Fight for Freedom and Democracy, into this footer. But guys, if you feel like sharing more information with the customer or adding contact details to your footer, for example, you're totally welcome to do so. Okay, so we can start with adding a flexible container to the page, then changing the content direction to horizontal, and setting up vertical and horizontal alignments to the center. Good. Now we can add a paragraph block to the container and insert the text. After that, go to the text color and change it to gray, as well as set the text size to 16 pixels, set alignment to center, save the changes, and we are done. So the main theme parts of the platform like header and footer are all set and ready. And right now we can proceed with creating a listing item for the project's CPT to basically output all necessary information from the backend to the front end and display it in a nice looking listing grid. For that, go to Jet Engine, Listings, and click on the Add New button. Leave Posts as a listing source. Select Projects for the post type to get the information from. Give a name to the listing, Projects Listing, and decide which builder to use. I'll go for the Elementor as it will give me more opportunities in styling options. After that, click on the Create Listing Item button. I'll start with changing the preview width in the listing settings to 560 pixels. Now I'll add a 2-column section and change the width to 1140 pixels. Then open the style settings and add a background. So as for the background, I want to use the project featured image, and dynamic text functionality will help me in this case. So select Custom Image under the Jet Engine, click on the little spanner over here and choose the field Post Thumbnail. In the position, select Center Left, Size Cover, and then go to the Border tab and add the border radius 20 pixels to kind of round the edges, as well as set the box shadow color to kind of grayish color and blurriness to somewhere around 15. Now we can proceed with editing the columns. We want the first column to be smaller and the second one a bit bigger to fit all the information about the project we need. So, select the first column and change the width to 38 pixels. Then go ahead and select the second column, change the widget space to 10, and proceed to the Style tab. Add a classic background type and set the color to blue. Then expand the Border tab and set the border radius to 20 pixels at right and bottom. After that, proceed to the Advanced Settings tab and set the padding to 25 pixels from all sides. Good. Now, let's search for the Dynamic Link widget and place it right into the second column. The source stays the same, permalink, but we want this widget to actually show the name of the project, not the default read more text. So click on the Dynamic Text button and choose the Macros option. In the settings, scroll way down and select Title. Okay, we can barely see it now, but it is there, and to change the situation, we need to style it a bit. So go to the Style tab and change the text color to white. Then open Typography settings and select Font Family Cabin, size 20 pixels, weight 600. Okay, now let's search for the Dynamic Field widget and drop it underneath the title. In the source, choose Metadata. In the field, select Short Description. Then go to the Style tab and change the color to almost transparent gray, size 15 pixels, weight 400. And one more thing we want to do is actually go to the Advanced tab and add a little bit of margin at the bottom to have more space between the description and the other information that will go underneath. So I guess 20 pixels will be enough. Okay, now I'll go ahead and place an intersection widget into the column and then place a heading widget inside the little first inner column. Change the title to Raised and HTML tag to div. Change the text color to white and typography to Roboto, size 16 pixels, weight 400. Then duplicate this heading widget and place it into another inner column and change the title to Goal. So as you can see, right now these widgets are kind of in the middle of the column, and I want them to be somewhat in line with other information we have here. So let's open Advanced settings of each inner column and set margin to -10 at the left, and then go back to Layout tab and change the widget space to 0. And you know what? I will actually change the column width a little bit here too. Like, let's say 35% for this one. So give me a second to change these settings for the second column. Okay, now let's go ahead and drop another heading widget underneath this one. In the title, enter 10% as for now, change HTML tag to div, and proceed with styling. Text color white, typography cabin, size 22 pixels, weight 700, line height 28 pixels. So guys, over here, please be very attentive. As for now, we'll leave this widget just as it is, styled, but not fully set up. Just to give you an understanding, it will show the amount of money raised in percentage, but we will be able to set it up completely in the 7th step of this tutorial, after we create an SQL query. And now let's proceed with adding other widgets. We can actually duplicate this heading, place it into the second column, and use dynamic tags to output the data from the total field. Just don't forget that we can use advanced settings to add some custom text like currency code after the number. In our case, it will be USD. Now search for the progress bar widget and place it onto the canvas. Remove the title and inner text, set percentage to 10, just to see the difference when we will be styling this widget, and hide percentage numbers. Again guys, we will be able to set up this widget completely on the 7th step of this video, so please keep in mind that we will be coming back to it later. Okay. Now let's open the Style tab and change the color to white, background color to transparent white, height to 28, and border radius to 14 pixels. and in the Advanced Settings tab, change margin a little bit at the bottom. I think 10 pixels will be enough. Okay, we're almost done here. Let's search for the dynamic link widget again and place it right at the bottom. The source will stay the same, permalink, but the label will be donate. Change the alignment to full width and proceed to the Style tab. Change background color to yellow and text color to blue. Adjust padding to 10 pixels from all sides and border radius to 20 pixels. Proceed to typography and set size to 16 pixels. Weight bold. Transform uppercase. Line height 22. And we are done. Now we can save the changes and proceed with adding listing grid with this listing item to the home page. Follow to Pages, add New, give it a name, Home Page, and edit it with Elementor. In the page settings, hide the title and choose Elementor Full Width as the page layout. So now let's search for the listing grid widget and place it onto the canvas. In the listing source, choose Projects Listing, set number of columns to 2, and enable Equal Columns Height option. Then go to the Style tab and set horizontal and vertical gap to 40 and add some padding at the bottom. 80 pixels should work just fine. Save the changes and check how it looks on the front end. There we go. Looks pretty nice. If we click on the title, it will forward us to the single page of the project, which is not customized yet, but we will do this in a few minutes. Now, the only thing we need to do now before we proceed to the next step is to assign the page to the home page in the WordPress reading settings. Go to Settings, Reading, tick a static page, and select a home page from the list. And of course, don't forget to save the changes. In order to create a single page template, we will have to use the Jet theme core functionality one more time. Follow to Crocoblock, Theme Builder, and click on Create New Page Template. Here we will add a new condition, include, for the singular page of the CPT projects, and click on the Create button. Now let's add a header for this page from the library. Here's the main header we created earlier. Click on the Use button, and the same way, let's add a footer. Good. What we have to do now is actually add a body. So click on the plus icon and choose the first option, Create Template. I'm gonna create it with Elementor, and the theme name will be a single project. Click on the Create button and proceed straight to the editor. The first thing we will do here is make sure that the preview settings are set up correctly. Go to the Preview Settings tab and change the post type to Projects. Update the template and reload the page. Good, now we are ready to go. So, the top of the template will look somewhat similar to the listing item design. Project thumbnail will be on the left side and project statistics on the right. Let's click on the plus icon and add a 2-column section to the canvas. Now, select the first column and change the width to 60%. Then proceed to the Style settings and add a background. In the image, click on Dynamic Tags and select Custom Image from the list. Click on the spanner to open the settings and select Post Thumbnail as a source. Change position to center and size to cover. Now expand the border settings and set border radius to 20 from top and left. Then add box shadow of a light grayish color and set blur to 15 and vertical to 5. Now go ahead and select the second column, change the widget space to 0, go to its style settings and add a background color blue. Then repeat the same procedure with the border tab. Just set the border radius to 20 from top and bottom and add a box shadow identical to the previous one. Color light gray, blur 15, vertical 5. After that, proceed to the Advanced Settings tab and set the padding to 40 from all sides. Okay, now we can add the widgets to the column. Let's start with the Dynamic Field widget. Place it into the right column. Leave the source and object field just as it is, but go to the style settings to make it look nicer. Change color to white, typography to cabin, size 32, weight 700, and line height 34. Then go to the advanced settings and set margin to 25 at the bottom. Okay, now go ahead and drop a heading widget right underneath the title. Change the text to donations and HTML tag to div. Proceed to the Style tab and change the color to almost transparent white. Set font size to 16, weight normal, and margin to 0. Now duplicate this widget twice and change the text on the first copy to raised and on the second copy to goal. Then drop another heading widget to the canvas and change the title to 1 and HTML tag to div. This is temporary, guys. Then proceed to the style settings and change the color to white, font size to 26, weight bold, line height 30. In the advanced settings, set margin to 15 at the bottom and duplicate this widget twice as well. On the first copy, change title to 100, but this one is also temporary. Why I am mentioning this? Because the statistics will be displayed automatically according to donations made. We will set it up during the next step. Okay, so as for the second copy, here in the title, click on the Dynamic Tags button and select Custom Field from the list. In the field settings, choose Total to show the overall amount we want to gather. Now place the widgets into the proper position and search for the Progress Bar widget. Place it under the heading and remove the title and inner text. Set percentage to 10% and go to Styling options. Change the color to white and background color to transparent white. Set height to 40 and background radius to 20. Adjust inner text color to blue and font size to 17. And in the advanced settings, let's give it a bit more space at the bottom. So 35 pixels should be fine. And last but not the least, for this column, let's add a button widget. Change the text to Donate Now and set Justified Alignment. Then change the background color to yellow and text color to blue. Set border radius to 30 and padding to 20. Go to typography and change the size to 18, weight to 600, and transform uppercase. Good. Now we can attach a donation pop-up we created earlier to this button. For that, follow to the Advanced Settings tab, open Jet pop-up section, and attach Donate Now pop-up. That was easy, right? Okay, now let's add a new 2-column section and change padding to 40 at the top. Select the first column and change the width to 6%. Add background color gray, change border type to solid, and set the width to 1 pixel at top, bottom, and left. Change the color of the border to a bit darker gray, and add a border radius 12 pixels at the top and left, as well as change the padding in the advanced settings to 20 at the top, bottom, and left too. Then search for the image widget and place it into the first column. Upload an image to the media library and insert it into the template. Great! Now, select another column and repeat the same procedure with styling of the background. So, color light gray, border width solid, width 1 pixel at top, right, and bottom, border color dark gray, border radius 12 pixels at right and bottom, padding 20 from all sides. And now let's drop a text editor widget into the second column and place the text we want our platform visitors to pay attention to. Now proceed to the style settings and set alignment to the left, change text color to gray, and adjust typography settings. Font family cabin, size 16 pixels, weight 400. And as you can see, the image over here is not displayed properly as of now. Let's try to set image size to full to see if it will change the situation. Okay, good. So, another thing we want to add to this template is actually a section with full description of the project and a donations list that will show the information about donations made by people. That is why let's add another section and set its padding to 40 at the bottom, and then search for the tabs widget. Please make sure to choose the correct colored tabs widget that comes in the Jet Tabs plugin. So once you place it onto the canvas, you see 3 tabs created by default. We need to delete one and customize the other 2. Let's click on the tab number 1, remove the icon, and change the label to description. In the content type, select Editor and click on Dynamic Tags to select Custom Field and specify Description field as a source. Good. Now let's proceed to the Style tab. In the tab's control, change the background color to light gray and set margin to -4 at the bottom. And then tab's container alignment to stretch. Okay, now let's move on to the tab's control item settings and change the alignment to the left. Then scroll down to State Styles section and change the text color on normal to gray, on hover to almost black, and on active to blue. Return to the normal tab and change typography to Font family cabin, size 20 pixels, weight 700. Also, adjust padding to 15 at the top and 9 at the bottom, and margin to 25 at the right. Then go back to the Active tab and add border type Solid. Set width to 4 pixels at the bottom and change the color to blue. Expand tab's content and change typography to font family Cabin, size 16 pixels, line height 20. Set padding to 25 from the top. Add border type Solid, width 4 at the top, and change color to gray. Then go back to the content and change the second tab. Remove the icon and change the label to Donations List. The content type will be the same, template, but we will be able to create it a little bit later. As for now, let's change the padding to 40 at the top and add another section for a little banner. So let's set a background color to dark gray and in the advanced settings adjust padding to 16 at the top and bottom. Then select a column and change vertical align to middle and drop a heading widget into that section. Change the title, then adjust the HTML tag and align it to the center. Then go back to the style settings and change text color to white and typography to Cabin, size 24 pixels, weight 300 and line height to 30 pixels. Proceed to the advanced settings and change the width to Inline Auto and padding to 10 pixels on the right. Then drop an image widget to the same section. Choose an image, the same little heart. Go to Advanced Settings and change the width to Inline Auto and padding to 10 at the left. Also, let's select this column one more time and align the widgets inside of it to the center. Now we are good to go. We can save the changes and proceed to the next step. Now we're getting to a bit more complicated but very interesting part. So in the previous tabs, we did have some gaps, and that is because we were lacking some advanced and really important customization in the Query Builder settings. That is why, buckle up and let's proceed with creating the project statistics. Let's define what kind of statistics we want to show on the website. First, the amount of donations made by people for specific projects. Second, total gathered funds for each project. And third, percentage of gathered donations for each project as well. In order to obtain this information, we need to create an SQL query. For that, go to Jet Engine, Query Builder, and click on Add New. Give a name to the new query and choose the type SQL query. In the From Table field, select Jet CCT Donations. This is where all the information about donations CCT is stored. Then click on the Add New under the Where query clauses, and here we will narrow down our query request to the post of a desired project. So, in the column section, select Project ID table column. In the Compare, choose operator equal and set the value to Object ID for current context. As for the type field, choose numeric. Now, let's group the query results by the Project ID column so that we could use the Calculated Columns option next, which is, by the way, really important. Okay, so before we proceed with actually adding columns with calculated results, we need to select a column that should be included into the query results and based on the information from which we will be doing all necessary calculations. It will be ID column in our case. Now we are ready to set up our first statistics request, amount of donations made for each project. For that, enable Include Calculated Columns option and add a new calculated column. So over here, we need to select a column to calculate value by, choose _ID from the list, and add the count function to it. This way, we will get the overall number of donations CCT items created for each project. Now, let's add another calculated column that will help us to count the sum of all donations made. So, in the column field, choose Amount and set function to Sum. And last but not the least, we want to show the amount of money raised in percentage. This one will be a little bit tricky as we will have to get data for calculations from the meta field. So let's click on Add New button and choose the Amount column from the list one more time. In the function, select Custom and proceed with filling out the Define Custom Column field. So, how do we count percentage? We divide the amount of money we have by the total amount of money we plan to raise and then multiply it by 100, right? So as you can see over here, we have the little expression that will help us to pass selected table name, this one, into the formula. So copy and paste it into the field, put it in brackets, and add sum function in front of it. This way, we'll get the overall amount of money raised for each project. Then, we need to divide it by the value of the total meta field for current project. For that, we will need to use the additional macro current meta for the total field, and then multiply it by 100. Great! Now we can save the changes and go back to the single page template and then listing item to output this information to the front end. So, let's refresh the page, select a heading widget under Donations, and click on the Dynamic Text button. Select Dynamic Function option, and in the Function field, choose SQL Query Results. In the Query column, select Count. Okay, it shows 0 right now because we have no donations for this project yet. Now, let's select another heading widget under Raised, click on Dynamic Tags, and choose Dynamic Function again. Select SQL Query Results from the list, and define the query column, Sum. Again, we see 0 over here because we have no donation CCT items created yet. And now, let's select the Progress Bar widget, click on Dynamic Tags in the percentage, add Dynamic Function to it, select SQL Query in the Function field, and set Custom in the Query column. Okay, works perfectly fine. Don't forget to save the changes and proceed to adding the listing item. Go to Jet Engine, Listings, and added Projects listing item with Elementor. Select a heading widget under Raised, click on Dynamic Tags, and choose Dynamic Function. Select SQL Query Results and set Sum in the query column. Then, select the Progress Bar widget, click on Dynamic Tags in percentage, add Dynamic Function, select SQL Query, and set Custom in the query column. Don't forget to update the listing item and proceed to the front end to make a test donation. So, let's click on Donate button, and here on Donate Now, fill out the fields, and proceed to the payment. Okay, so click on the Pay Now button, and there we go. Our first donation has been successfully submitted, and we can see that here in the statistics. Let's check out the backend. So go to Donations section, and here we can see our first CCT item created with all the information we submitted in the form. Now let's try to make another donation just to check out how the calculation in statistics works. So give me a minute to submit another form. Wonderful! The calculations work just fine for both single page and listing item. Okay guys, we're almost done with creating this platform. In the next tab, we will create a donations list and then display it in a nice looking dynamic table right on the front end. First, let's see what kind of information we want to include into this table. The name of the person who agreed to share it on the website, the amount of money he donated, and the date when donation was made. So in order to show this information, we need to create another query to get this exact data from the list of all donations made on the site for each project. For that, let's follow to Jet Engine, Query Builder, and click on Add New. Give a name to the new query, and select Custom Content Type Query from the Query Type list. In the From Content Type, select Donations and scroll a bit down to start adding the query. So one more time, we need to get the information about the donations made by people who agreed to show their name on donations list. That is why let's start with specifying whose data needs to be shown. So field Show on Project Page, operator equal, value yes. And now let's define the project this donation was made for. Field project, operator equal, and value object ID for current context. Good! Now we can save the changes and proceed to Jet Engine dashboard. In order to display the information we just queried in a dynamic table, we first need to enable Dynamic Tables Builder module in the Jet Engine dashboard. Toggle it on and wait for the module to be installed. Okay, let's also enable Dynamic Visibility for Widgets and Section feature too. I'll let you know why a little bit later. So save the changes and proceed to Jet Engine Tables Builder. Click on Add New and give a name to the table Donations. In the Data query, select a newly created Donations List query. Then proceed to the Columns tab and add a first column for the name of the contributor. Column name, name, column content, raw value, data source, post term user object field, and field name under the content type donations section. Then minimize this column settings and add a new one. Column name, amount, column content, raw value, data source the same, post term, etc., and select the field amount. Also, over here, we can customize column output and add percentage as and USD for the currency of donation. Great, minimize this tab and add a new one. So here we will display the date when donation was made. Column name, date, column content, raw value, data source, again, post term user object field, and field created date. Then let's enable filter column output option and choose format date from the list. In the Format field, specify the format that is most comfortable for you. I'll go for this one. And over here, you can choose the one that fits you the most in the WordPress formatting date and time article. Okay, and last but not the least in this part, we can go to the Table Styles section and set horizontal align of the heading cell for each column to the left. Now we can save the changes and go back to the single page template. Let's select the tabs widget we added earlier in this video and open the second Donations List tab. Over here, we specified that we will use template to display desired content, right? So right now, what we need to do is actually create a template with the dynamic table widget in it. For that, go to Templates, Add New, select Section from the list, and give the template a name, Donations Table. Now search for the dynamic table widget and place it onto the canvas. In the Table field, select Donations and enable Show Column Names in the table footer. So since this template is not connected to any project yet, we can't see the information about donations that will be inside the table. But we can still style this widget right now and make changes if necessary after we place the template into the single page. So click on the Style tab and add border type solid with width 1 pixel from all sides and change color to light gray. Then proceed to the Headers tab and set color to almost black, background color to light gray, and adjust cells padding to 8 from top and bottom, 5 at right, and 15 at the left. Add border type solid with widths of 1 pixel from all sides, and change color to light gray. And finally, extend the Body tab and set cell padding to 8 from top and bottom, 10 at right, and 15 at the left. Again, add border type solid with widths 1 pixel from all sides and color light gray. Okay, and now let's add a text editor widget underneath the table and type in the following. There are no public donations yet. Go to Styles tab and align the widget to the left. Set text color to bluish gray and font family to cabin. So basically, in case there will be no people who agree to share their donation info in the list, we will show this message instead of the empty table. The only thing left to adjust here in the template is dynamic visibility conditions. So proceed to Advanced tab and enable Dynamic Visibility option. In the condition type, select Hide Element if condition met, and in the conditions, set Query has items and select Donations List Query. Then, select the Dynamic Table widget one more time and enable Dynamic Visibility for this widget too. Set condition type Show Element if condition met. In the conditions again, select Query has items and choose Donations List Query. Now we can save the changes, and finally we can go back to the single page template and assign this template we created to the tab. So refresh the page and select the Tabs widget. Open Donations List tab and choose Template from the list. Now we can update the single page template and check it out on the front end. So here's our single page template of the Financial Help for Mykolaiv City project. Let's scroll a bit down and there we go. Now we can see the information about contributors who agreed to share their name on the list. Alright, our crowdfunding platform is good to go. If you just need a desktop version of it, congrats to you guys, you are all set. But if you would like to make your platform mobile responsive, stick with me and I'll show you how this can be done. So I will do a couple of minor changes in 3 parts of the website: header, listing item, and single page template. Let's proceed to Crocoblock, theme templates, and open main header with Elementor. Click on responsive mode and choose mobile device at the top. Now select image widget with the logo, go to the advanced tab and set padding to 20 pixels at the left so it would not stick to the side. Then select a text editor widget, go to the Advanced tab, and hide it using Dynamic Visibility feature. Choose Hide Element if condition met and set Is Mobile Device for condition. Instead of this text editor widget, I will place a simple image widget and add the same hard picture to it. So select the picture and insert it. Change the size to full and padding in the Advanced tab to 20 pixels at the right. Enable Dynamic Visibility, select Show Element if condition met, and define the condition Is Mobile Device. Also, let's go back to the Layout tab and change the width to Inline Auto. After that, select this column and set Vertical Align to Middle. Update the header and proceed with editing the listing item. So go back to the dashboard, Jet Engine, Listings, and open Projects Listing with Elementor. Click on Responsive Mode and choose Mobile Device again. And as you can see, this first column with the image is barely visible now. That is why we can add a spacer widget to it and set its size to somewhere around 280 pixels or 282, for example. Then go to the Style tab, open Border section and change border radius to 20 pixels at bottom and left. Save the changes and go back to the dashboard. So finally, we can go to the Crocoblock theme templates one more time and open single project with Elementor. Again, enable responsive mode for mobile devices. Same as in the listing item, add a spacer widget to the first column with the same size. Then select the second column and go to Style tab, open Border section and change padding to 20 pixels at bottom and left. Now select the column with the info image and proceed to the advanced settings. Enable Dynamic Visibility and hide this element on condition Is Mobile Device. And lastly, select the Tabs widget, go to Style tab and set padding in general to 10 pixels at right and left. That's it. Save the changes and proceed to the front end to check out how the website looks now on the mobile devices. So here's our homepage with all available projects. Let's open the first one. Okay, so here's a little bit updated single page of the project. Let's try to make a donation once again. Okay, works fine and looks pretty nice too. So, I guess now we are done for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it will be helpful and useful in your current and future projects. If any questions will arise, you know what to do. Our support team will be more than happy to assist you. And also, Don't forget to like our videos and share your feedback in the comments, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel and stand with Ukraine. Cheers, guys!